All right, and welcome to another show here at Stay Tuned with Troy and Howie, and we have another special guest here on board. He's a professional artist, 3D, and I want to learn a lot about that, by the way, a 3D screen or 3D printer artist as well, and also he's a brother from another mother, a cousin. I don't know. Are you my daddy too? I don't know. I mean, we might have some kind of weird relationship going on here, Kenny. So we're speaking with Kenny Kurtz. So hey, what's up, Kenny?
Hey guys, thanks for having me here, man. I appreciate it.
Course,
Yeah,
man.
not
We
a
were checking
problem.
out some of your artwork, man. Very cool stuff you have going on there, and we're definitely going to get into that. Before we do, let's kind of just throw out your social medias out there. We got Kenny Kurtz, and that's Kurtz 717 is on the TikTok. Kenny Kurtz 717, and then on Facebook it's K Kurtz Artistry. So look this guy up and see what he has to offer. And that being said, what do you have to offer, Kenny?
Well, I'm open always for commissions, and I do one of a kinds. So if you take a picture of, say you have lost a loved one or a family member or even a dog, it could be a snake, whatever. If you have something you lost, you'd send me pictures. I have a very good sculptor that can sculpt the file, which is called an STL file, and that's what I put into my printer. And then you can actually make pictures of your loved ones and into a statue. So what I do is we had a nephew, one of my sister, Dory, her son passed away.
Okay.
God rest. I did a bust for him. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh wow.
took the picture, and then they sent me the file, and then I printed it out, and I painted it like bronze. It looks just like him.
Wow.
Oh,
Looks
my
like a good
gosh.
keepsake. You don't have your actual the actual person anymore. You
Sure.
just don't want to see a picture, but you can still touch their face with the sculpt. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Or you can see your dog sitting on your mantle. So it's definitely. I like to say it's got a long way to go, but it's well on its way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
That's
this
awesome.
could definitely be like I could see this really happening more in the future with loved ones and such, and making a bust, especially that with this 3D printing that's available now. Like just like you said, like there's a totally different thing than just looking at a picture or actually seeing like a statue of that person there. It probably makes it feel a little bit more personal and a little bit more real, right?
Maybe if you want to give me a second, I can go grab the actual bust and show you.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. And what I was thinking as he was just mentioning that, Troy, was
Yeah.
that would be kind of cool to get one of like you and I in front of like a microphone and and talking. I'd be curious to see what's involved with that. And I guess I don't know. Do we just have to send a picture of us sitting together, or
Well,
how
I
does
think
that
he
work?
said you need like a 3D, like you have to kind of go around as you do it.
Oh, okay.
So that way you can get all the shapes and stuff of your nose.
I can make these into action figures or anything.
Nice.
Yeah, I do action figures for people. But this is a exact replica of my nephew.
Oh wow. Oh my gosh.
That was from a picture.
Okay.
I mean, he's been
So-
gone like 4 years now, but I can still touch his face and I still see him.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And it was surreal making it because,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you had a lot of emotion and
because
right?
now I'm painting him and he's gone. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
seeing his face in the resin, and I'm like, he's still here.
oh my gosh.
That's how old was he?
Oh, 21.
Oh.
He passed away from the fentanyl poisoning.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Very sad, very unexpected. Obviously made a huge mistake and dearly missed.
Yeah.
Dearly
That's
missed.
a
I was very close to him, so it was a hard loss.
You made a couple copies there then?
Yeah, I got a whole bunch. I got different
Yeah.
ones. I got ones that are like colored, but I sent them out to like his mom, and then like his the brothers and sisters and the family.
What would you say the size of that is? Is that like maybe
I think it's
10
probably
inches?
maybe 8 inches.
Okay, so what would something, and obviously I would imagine you didn't charge your your family member, but what does something like that cost if someone were to request?
Depends on the size. You know
Okay.
what I mean? Usually they'll pay for the sculpt. Like it's usually it's usually $30 to get the picture made into to this file that I can use it.
Okay.
And then after that, it's like this is an easy paint job. It was just a bronze. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I'm not going to charge you a lot, but if I do it like my full paint like human being, you might
Sure.
pay a little more. But
Right.
right around, I'm saying like something like this, I'd probably charge like $80.
Okay.
wow.
You know what I mean?
That's not bad at all.
And then
No,
you're
not
30
at
on
all.
top. But now if it was like I can make up to life size busts, like you know what I mean, I can make this.
Right.
You know what I mean, and then then obviously the price is significant. Like I'd say the coffee table, the Conan coffee table I have that I made like we made the Conan. We had the glass on the top, but inside of the coffee table is the giant snake with the Conan in it, and then it's a whole dungeon.
yes.
It lights up with Alexa and everything. Yeah, like
Oh
something
my
like that.
gosh.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty cool. Something like that would probably be like on like the $800 range, like because it's a custom coffee table with the inside of it.
And
My average piece is around $450 to $500.
Okay, and I saw you were recently at the Ohio show, and I'm not sure
Yeah.
like what kind of show was that?
Well, I also am a big collector of vintage toys and
Okay,
stuff, but I sell my work there. So
Yeah.
it's the Great Ohio Toy Show. It's the people from Route 68 Toys in Xenia, Ohio, do the event every. I think it's October and whatever this last one was. I think it was April. I think March. I think it was March 20th, March 26th was the last show. And then what I do is I'll set up one table of vintage toys, and then I have a whole table of just nothing but my work, and I can sell my work there and advertise my business and.
2 weeks in a row, Howie, we're getting people from Ohio here.
Yeah, no, what's up with that? Yeah.
What's going on? Well, I guess you shouldn't say that because you're not originally from Ohio, though, right?
No, you're originally from Central PA, and you had mentioned before we started recording that you went to Milton Hershey School, which is it's a private school that they don't even. I mean, they house people that come from unfortunate backgrounds, I guess you can say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
how long did you say you were there, Kenny?
I was there from 3rd grade until my 10th grade year. I left.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was there for a long time. I was considered one of them. I'll always be a Milton Hershey kid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll always be a Spartan till the day I die. You know, I built a lot of friends up there and all that, and
Sure.
I still to this day interact with a lot of them on a daily basis and see their families and stuff. But
so you kind of mentioned nonchalantly, but you were mentioning about possibly at one point maybe playing some football. I assume you played football for Milton Hershey.
yes, yep.
And were you actually getting looked at to play at Penn State?
Yeah, I was getting close to it. I mean, I was actually like like when they send you the papers and they're like, hey, we're looking at you, thinking you're going to play. I had it all. It was that, or I was going to go to Lock Haven for wrestling.
Oh wow!
Because I really liked wrestling. I don't know what it was. Track was probably my best sport. The mile run.
Oh, okay.
I think I set a bunch of school records at 4 minutes and 12 seconds in the mile run. So that,
Oh my
I think
God.
I think some of them are still there today.
Okay.
Even 30 years later, that they just weren't broken. But I did a lot of track running. It was mainly just the distance, but it was pretty good athlete in high school.
Nice.
What position were you playing in football?
Linebacker.
Okay.
And then I came down here to Lebanon, and they put me at running back, and you know what I mean. And it was a good thing, but teams in some teams. I'm not saying all teams are like this, but like coaches that have sons and kids that've been there since they've been in corner. I'm not going to start over those guys, even if I'm better. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it was very obvious that I was on another level than them, but they would be like benching me, and then I would be like going crazy. I mean, we had a game against Mannheim Central, and we were playing against Jeff Smoker.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he played, and I was just destroying this dude, and they just never let me start. Ended up.
Jeff Smoker went on to play at Michigan State, and
And,
then a Spartan,
Rams.
another Spartan, right?
Yeah, and he went to the Rams.
Yeah, I think he got
Rams.
drafted in like the 7th round or 6th round or something like that.
Yeah.
So then
That
once
was the same time Cedar Crest had Jaron Hayes too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Jaron
going to say
Hayes,
there's a lot of football talent here in Central PA.
JJ
and,
Stokes was still around. Michael Kitchen was around from Lebanon.
Yeah,
Michael
that's right,
Kitchen
Michael
was.
Kitchen, too.
I mean, who's going to start over that guy?
Right.
Who was the
Yeah.
kid? Who was the kid from Lebanon Catholic? He was a tackle.
The one was Jaron Hayes. Is that Jaron Hayes?
No, he went to Cedar
No.
Crest.
Oh
that
no,
was Peter Kress.
the other guy that went to the Dolphins. Who was that?
Well, yeah, I was going to say the guy.
Jared
No,
Odrick.
you're thinking of
Jared Odrick.
Odrick,
Jared Odrick. Yeah,
Odrick.
yeah, he was drafted first round by the Dolphins.
Yeah. He had a good
And,
career though. He really
Yeah,
was-
he had a decent career. He put up some good numbers.
Yeah, I'm not sure who you mean, Howie.
Well, there was
Offensive
a
tackle or
tackle. He ended up going to Pitt actually and playing.
Arthur. I think I know who you mean.
For the life of me, I don't
You know
remember.
what? I know that Todd Wyke went to Maryland. Remember he played for Lebanon? He was
Yeah.
Dude was kicking 65-yarders in high school.
Yeah,
Bigger than anybody
I know.
I've ever seen. But that guy ended up playing. I think he did sign with the Raiders for a little bit there, but he had a great Maryland career.
yeah. But
So,
you
yeah,
had mentioned when you went to Lebanon and they put you to running back. It doesn't sound like something Lebanon would do. You know, it's almost like having an elite quarterback coming in and running an
option offense.
An option offense.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
and
I
we're
was
obviously.
I was like 4-string running back and like
Yeah.
running backer. Like I wasn't starting or nothing. And
Oh, geez.
my coaches
Yeah.
at Milton Hershey are like you're not even playing at all. I was like nothing. Like they just
Yeah.
wouldn't not.
Oh,
they
my
just
God.
they just would not give me a chance. You know what I mean? And it then it just became sour to me. And then I just went and did the whole Gold Glove boxing thing after that.
Oh, nice. Let's get into that then. But before we do, Howie was mentioning there the option offense that Lebanon used to run. Do you know what he was getting at there with the Kerry Collins story?
Oh yeah. Doesn't it like didn't we have him and they get rid of him to?
Well,
Well,
he was 11.
He ended up breaking his leg at Lebanon,
Yeah.
mom was living in Lebanon. Dad was living in Wilson School District near Reading, PA.
Yep.
And after that incident, I guess, is when Carrie the family was like, no, he's living with Dad now. He's going to be playing for Wilson. And
I'd say that worked out pretty well for him.
Yeah, I was going to say it not only worked out well for him in the football career, but he was also drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays as a
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
double sporters.
Yeah, he had. I caught for him in an All-Star game in baseball. I was 2 or 3 years younger than him, I remember, and he was a pitcher, and he was throwing 96.
Yeah, I remember
as an 18-year-old, I think.
And I've told Howie this story before. I don't know if I ever told it on air, but there was a friend of mine, and he grew up with Kerry Collins, and they were in the same little league and stuff together. And Kerry Collins was throwing a no-hitter, and he was playing my buddy's team, and he hit my buddy with a pitch, and he got on base. And my buddy, like to this day, like he brags about it, like I was the only guy to get on base against Kerry Collins. I got a broken arm to prove it.
Yeah, right. Oh man, well that's a shame though that Lebanon didn't give you the due treatment. You know.
Well, I think it was. I don't even know what to say about that. It was just hard because I was used to being at Milton Hershey. I was on this, they breed you to do that. That's all. Their sports teams they're pretty stout teams no matter where they're at. Swimming, if it's track, they have that variety of people that can make
Ice hockey.
Teams. Yeah, we played ice hockey, all that stuff. But it's just you sit there and you look at it and you go, man, like. I knew that once I got down there after the first year, I knew that there was no way I was ever going to be anything more in that sport because even in wrestling, everybody had people that been there since day one, and I just come out of nowhere like 10th grade, like, hey, you know what I mean? And I was a stud, you know what I mean? And I just felt like I got no.
What made that change there, Kenny? Why did you go from Milton Hershey back to Lebanon?
Was this when Dad pulled you out, or?
Yeah, this was when Dad pulled me out. Well, he ultimately pulled me out because I ran away, and then I was like, well, there's no way I'm going to keep staying here. I think what it was, in a nutshell, was Mom didn't drive, so I was up there on the holidays. I was up there I was always there, and at one point I was like, well, I'm 18 now. I really don't want to be here. I want to be home with my friends and family and my brothers and sisters. I don't want to do this no more. I want to live a normal life. Like when you're living, because it is institutionalized in a way. Everything you do is literally someone telling you to do it. Like you have no freedom whatsoever.
I was going to say
nowadays they have a little more freedom, but there was always just structure all the time.
Yeah, I remember you were saying there before we went on air that you were, like your day was laid out. Like if you weren't involved in any extracurricular activities, whether it was sports or plays or whatever, like you were doing some sort of chores on campus there, right?
Yeah, you were shoveling snow. You were raking leaves. And some of the stuff, honestly, was toothbrush in the bathroom on a Saturday morning, like. You know what I mean? We're talking kids that should be out playing, and they're doing hard labor because the house mother woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, jeez.
And the verbal, sometimes, I'm not saying all of them, because there were some really good house parents that to this day I love to death. And there were some ones there that just shouldn't have been around kids. That shouldn't even been allowed to be house parents.
Well, I mean, it's appetizing, people that take on that role as house parents, because you're getting free housing as the adult, and you're getting paid a decent salary where all your money is basically free money. You're not paying too many bills with it. You're just pretty much pocketing while you live there for free.
Yeah, because they had their own apartments and everything. Like they would come out in the morning and be like every other weekend. I think we had substitute house parents that would come in and take their place so they could have time off. And the holidays were the same. They would bring in substitutes to do their jobs, and then they would just go on vacation with their families. But they made good money.
Yeah, they did.
They still make good.
Yeah, I was gonna say they still do.
Anybody that's working at Mount Hershey makes decent money. You know what I mean? Because the school's got the money. The problem is that there's no like. What parent's going to believe a kid that doesn't want to be there?
Right.
Yeah.
So as much as the school is good, and as much as but you even hear it to this day, and hear it from past kids, is that there's a lot going on that people do. The hazing was bad. Yeah. The hazing at that school was absolutely. Your mom sends you there. Like my mom did the whole. She said, "Oh, you're going to go visit a new school," and then I go there and I don't see her for a year. Like she just drops me off.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, then they're telling her back then in the 80s that's okay. Like you can't call her. And then I go walk into the student home where they had put me in, which was Fulton at the time in the junior division. And they're like, "You're going to call this guy dad and you're mom and pop." And I'm like, "That's not my mom and it's not my pop." But the minute I said something, instantly had me punished, had me writing 500 word essays on why I'll call him dad when he's not my dad. And like dude, it was some like mental.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as you become conformed to the school and you do the routines and you learn where your place is and what you can get away with, it's not a bad school, because then they do point you in every direction to be successful in life. And they've had a lot of successful human beings come out of that school, actors and businessmen and entrepreneurs. But at what cost is the dark side of their memories of the school? Because
I was gonna say there's probably some trauma that was built up from all that.
Yeah, I remember waking up and dudes flipping my bed over and metal trash cans bounced off my back and watching them torture kids, torture them,
yeah.
Because you're talking, these kids come from everywhere, from anywhere from across the seas to New York to. Some of them were just bad eggs that parents were like, "Look, I'm a single mom, but he's too much."
Yeah. Now, you're not the first person that has shared that kind of story about that place, and obviously, and I've heard the same thing from other people where, there really were some good people there, and I've heard that a lot too, and that's awesome. But if this is happening like at the rate that it seems to be happening, how comes it's not getting to the proper ears? And I'm saying not even in-house, but even outside of the school.
Well, if you want my opinion, back in the day when it was a thing, because I had an altercation, the seniors would rule, right?
Yeah.
Senior kids were like, if you were underclassmen, this guy was in 12th grade, I was in 9th grade, they would like, go do my chores, and you either complied or you didn't. Well, I just had a group of them that thought that, because I was who I was and I was doing good at sports and I wasn't quite take your shit type of kid.
Yeah.
They waited till I went back to a bedroom and he called me back there and he was like, "Yo," and he was trying to talk to me. And when I had my back turned, another one ran in with a Nike drawstring bag and drew it around my neck. And then and they videotaped this because they had a camcorder. And they videotaped this, and like 5 or 6 of some of the kids I've been close to with my whole life beat the fucking brakes off me.
Wow.
And I fought for my life. I really did. And then we pressed charges. All 4 of them got kicked out of school. I was obviously scarred. My mom, for the first time, was like, "Oh, this is some stuff." And I have paperwork that court documents from them that they were kicked out, and then Milton Hershey pressed charges on all the kids. And some, I had the parents like walking by me and being like, how dare you get my kid kicked out? He's been here his whole life. Like, your kid's the one that put the drawstring bag over my back and wanted to prove a point. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter. Well, you broke his jaw. Well, that's because he was trying to kill me.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm going to swing a fucking lamp and hit you in the face. Sorry about the language,
Yeah,
but you get what I'm saying?
good.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
But even that should have been on the news.
Yeah,
And
really.
because it's filtered through so many people there. First, it was
Yeah.
the house parents found out. I was like, yo, he taped it. They had the tape. So they couldn't get out of it. So they had the tape.
Wow.
Then I had to deal with all the kids that were mad at me because those were their friends. You know what I mean? So that took a long time to get over. Like, he's a snitch. No. They did it, where the house parent came back, heard it, and he cleaned house. Like, he went back there and was laying them on their asses. Like,
Yeah.
but it had to go through the house parents, and then it gets filtered through somebody else, and then that person touches it. And because of the ambiance of Milton Hershey and the legacy or whatever you want to call
Sweetest
it,
place on earth, Kenny.
exactly. But it's not always the sweetest place on earth. But because of all that, it gets pushed it gets filtered out into where it wasn't a big deal, and we handled it inside. We threw all the kids out, but it should have been put out there. Because at that time, when and I'll say, there's maybe a lot of Milts that hear this and may not like it. I love the school. I believe brown and gold for the rest of my life, and I can owe a lot of who I am to a lot of those teachers and staff and house parents. But I'm telling you, any one of them will tell you it was not as good as it seems, and probably have a lot of dark secrets that they don't even want to tell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
it's always, like you said, and when you ask me the question, it's going to get filtered. Because what's the last thing Hershey Alumni Association wants? They don't want giant lawsuits of child molestation or we had to let go of these house parents. Sometimes you'll see, well, the house parents retired, but they were here 20 years, but they retired on their own thing and had no reason to retire. Why?
Right.
Why? You know what I mean? Because why? What were you doing? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, you know what I mean? Like, we had a house mother, I'm not going to say it one time, but like the boys would take showers and she'd be like, you missed the spot. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I can't even take a shower without you watching me bathe, and literally standing there while we're walking around with no towels on, watching us.
Oh my gosh.
Just standing there like, like this. And, you know what I mean? There's no privacy whatsoever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, and then if you say something, well, that's just tactical protocol. Like, no, shouldn't it be the house mother and not the house mother doing that? Like,
No, and I don't want to end this on a bad note. So, were you able to kind of keep in touch with any of those ones that really kind of mentored you, that you really did have a good connection with?
oh yes, I still do to this day.
Okay,
The
good.
ones that are alive still, most of them are, I'm going to be 46 or 45 this year. So
Okay.
a lot of them are gone and passed away. But the Mizerics, Mr. and Mrs. Mizerics, best house parents I ever had. Great. He was like better dad than my dad, that's for sure.
Are they the ones that kind of geared you towards the art thing, or where did that all come about for you, Kenny?
The art thing came from just, I was always creative as a kid, and then I would start painting model cars and stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty good at this. And then I started doing the whole fantasy board game thing. Oh, I'm really good at this. I can paint these. People buy them. They like them.
Yep.
And then one day I saw 3D printed, and I was like, well, that's right up my alley. And then I just put the time and the effort and to watching all the videos and how to do it and how to set the machines up. And through the last 4 years, it's just, I got them on magazine covers. This will be like my third radio podcast.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so
A lot of my work's been used.
I could always put the models together. I could just never paint them,
Yeah.
So mine were always like brown or maroon or whatever color they came in or whatever.
Yeah. No,
You're better than me because I didn't have the patience to put them together either.
Yeah. even to this day, it's definitely a dedication. I spend I'd say about 4 hours a day just painting on a regular basis, and then another 4 like cleaning, doing my machines and changing them in and out. And then sometimes like now I'm just busy. You know what I mean? I take commissions, so I'm commissioned out until.
This is your full-time gig, Kenny?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you're doing exactly what you love, right?
Yeah. And my fiance Amy, she's a big player in that. She is the breadwinner for sure. You know what I mean? But it allows me to follow my dreams, and she supports me 100%. But I also, you know what I mean, between the vintage toy selling and repairing and my art business, I make it more now than I ever did when I worked.
Wow. That's good.
And I get a fulfillment of joy out of it. You know what I mean?
Oh, without a doubt.
What do you decide to put on your social medias for people to check out? Is that you kind of have to ask the client if it's okay, or what's your guidelines on that?
I try to keep it PG for the most part. You know what I mean?
Right.
But usually, like nobody really says anything. Like if I make a piece, they're naturally. I say to them like, "Hey, I'm going to use this in TikTok video," but or if I take a picture at a show or whatever and post it on my TikTok, that family's aware that I'm using their. But you really don't ever have anybody be like, no, don't use my photo or don't, you know what I mean? Because now it's an age of technology and TikTok's where it's at, or so everybody wants a picture somewhere. You know what I mean?
Well, not just that, but let's face it, everywhere you go, you're on camera at this point, right? You know.
Yeah. Your whole life's on camera, even your phone.
There should just be billboards everywhere, like you are being recorded. You know?
Yeah, like I have my phone sitting here, and no lie, I'll go down later on to do a search, and it'll be like, Howie White, where you're at. Like, how do you even know? Like, it'll have your podcast, and all you gotta do is click. Yeah. I'm like, how does this thing know?
I know it's scary because there's times where I've looked at my phone after thinking of something, literally thinking of something, and all of a sudden it shows up in my search engine. I'm like, what the heck?
And then you go do the research, and you're like, what? Okay, well, at least it worked. At least I know now. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely
what happened, Howie, is when you got that vaccine. See, it sent a chip in there, so now they can read what you're thinking.
Yeah, I did hear about that. I got the vaccine though. I was definitely for the vaccine. I think it wouldn't hurt, but that coronavirus thing was scary. It was scary.
Yeah,
it was scary.
Yeah. It was a different thing. It was a different time for sure. I mean, it
definitely changed the world in a different way. You know what I mean? Because now you know. I mean, I guess you would know back in the day, but you definitely know that you're not always safe. Like it's not. Yeah. Doesn't matter how healthy you are. It doesn't mean nothing. Like. That thing could have wiped the whole human race if it wanted to.
It was weird how it affected.
It was getting there. I mean, I was going, oh, it's going to be an apocalypse. You know, Walking Dead. Yes, you know what I mean. But that's not how you should be as a human being. But I was like, well,
lucky for you though, Kenny, that you come from a family where you're pretty much like a cockroach. You know, you're gonna. They can't step on you and kill you. They're gonna have to either shoot you or you're just gonna have to die of old age.
Yeah. There is no getting rid of us. I'll tell you what, there isn't a single one of us that died during the coronavirus. I can tell you that. Yes. We were like, I was out kissing everybody.
It was just really weird how I don't know what it was, but it was just certain people it affected more than others. And it was such a weird thing. It really
people
was.
to this day, like the other day I was talking to a guy, like I did a piece of art for him, and I have it on my TikTok. He's wearing, I made a bomb chain for him. He's a rapper. He wanted this big giant bomb chain. It was a custom piece. Take it to him in PA, and I go to meet him for the first time, and he's wearing a mask. And to me, I'm just like, I went up and told my fiance, I says, is he just wearing that to wear it, or is he wearing? She's like, I don't know anymore. People are weird.
Yeah, right.
Because I'd be walking in, like people are still wearing masks these days. Like, thought that's what the shot was for, guys. Like, that's why we got chipped up. I was just figuring out, like.
Howie was telling a story a couple weeks ago. He passed somebody in a car wearing a mask, like
by themselves. Yeah,
I was wearing a mask, and the kid in the car seat, when I looked over, was wearing a mask. I was like, how do you even get a little kid to hold that thing on his face? Like,
right.
Put that there. What happened to
I don't get it.
Like it. I don't either.
Depending on how old they are, that might be all they know, though, right?
Yeah. And now look at the generation knows. Yeah. The new generation of kids that they're having now, like there's a whole new implementation of rules and you know what's next. You know what I mean? Like because didn't they have that coronavirus strain, right? And then there's another one that followed it. That was still killing people. That's still killing.
Omicron and all the kind.
Yeah. Now I need another Resident Evil shot to stay alive. Like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, how do they even do it? Like, how do it is what it is, though. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it did open my eyes on how the world is working, and that nothing's safe and nothing's ever promised. And
that's right.
I mean, I lost a good friend. He was, I think he was 37, 38 years old.
He was a mutual friend, actually.
Yeah.
That is sad to hear. I am sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it was so strange, you know? Like, he was a little overweight, but other than that, pretty good health, you know what I mean? But I still don't know the order of what happened, but he ended up getting the virus, and he ended up getting double pneumonia, and that combination, that was it. You know,
I had a buddy. He was active out fishing every day. He was in Bassmaster tournaments. The guy doesn't live a day in his house, and he got it so bad that he almost passed away. And I mean, he's still like not 100%, but he definitely was about to meet his maker over this whole deal. And I was like, when I saw that, and I'm a big dude, I was like, I'm just going to stay inside and avoid the entire world for the next 6 months. And that's exactly what I did. I stayed inside and I painted, and then I dealt with you if I had to deal with you, like on a personal basis. But we just quarantined here. Like, we just stayed away from everybody.
I mean, I was telling you about the other guy we have, Brian Herr from Data Monster. He does the Funko Pops, and he paints those and stuff like that and customizes those. And we were talking with him. We started this podcast right during the coronavirus, right when right when the quarantine started. He started his business during the quarantine because his daughter has I can't remember the exact name of the disease, but it's something to do with her esophagus or something like that. And so he didn't want to be around anybody either in case something were to happen to her. So like a lot of businesses and podcasts and different things, I mean, like it did open that up because people needed to be able to reach out to people somehow, some way, because everybody was getting tired of just being closed in and not having any human contact anymore. Like, it was crazy.
Didn't you notice, like, lately, and I'm pretty sure you both have, like, I'll go to a store, like, say, Steak and Shake out here in Ohio. Like, they just got whole different hours of when they feel like working now. Like,
I know.
Coronavirus. Like, we might be here Tuesday, but check in Wednesday, maybe Thursday. You know, Gabriel Brothers will be open, and I'm like, and my fiance's like, that's coronavirus. That's what that did. Everybody, no businesses are accountable. Like, we were up in PA just over the weekend visiting, and we went to that Stauffer's, and she likes to get animal crackers. And that thing has been open every time for the last 20 times we were down. But right after the coronavirus, we went there, and it was like, come back July 22nd at 10:30 exactly, and you might get some crackers. And he's just like, the coronavirus screwed it up for everything. Like, companies are not accountable for their business hours anymore. I mean, I literally call now before we go places. I'll be like, yeah, are you going to be open today? And the guy's like, yeah, my store hours are this, and this. And it ain't even nothing close to what was on his door when I was there the last time. Like,
oh, my gosh.
No accountable hours or nothing. Like
it definitely changed, business hours, but it also changed the workforce big time. And I think that's the biggest thing right now.
Well, we have more jobs now available. I mean, it seems to be like the job market's opening up, but that could be because, unfortunately, the deaths that it caused, because it did cause a lot of deaths, but it also caused a lot of companies to let go employees.
Yeah.
Because how many out of them? Let's be real though. How many out of them million employees weren't calling in and be like, I got COVID. I don't want to be in for a month. And these companies still had to pay them. You know what I mean? Some companies, not all, but had to pay them and make sure that they were okay.
Yeah, and they didn't even have to say they had coronavirus. They just had to say they had the symptoms of it.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Oh, whoa, stay home." We need to figure out what's going on.
We don't want you contaminating the rest of the world. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of them employees would do that over and over, and then a lot of them lost jobs because of it. You know what I mean?
That's very true.
So the job market's booming right now, if you think about it. But I mean, who knows how the economy? I guess we're getting ready to head into a recession, aren't we?
Well, we're getting there again. I mean, well, not again. We've been headed downwards. I mean, geez. And also at the gas pumps, now that the weather's starting to get warmer, the gas prices are going to go skyrocket, and they'll probably be around $4 a gallon again. And, it's a joke, unfortunately. So,
and it sucks because when a recession hits, people like me and any kind of like person that has a personal business, it's hard to make because people don't want to spend their money no more.
Because they don't have it.
Yeah, I have to be like, well, a $400 piece now is $100 because that's about where the range of people want to pay for my stuff at that point. You know what I mean? To keep my business running. You know what I mean? And it's sad, but it is what it is. I'm not looking forward to a recession, but I am looking forward to buying a new house. So I'm hoping that market will be open now here soon.
Not only that market to be open, but you hope that those prices go down on new houses because, oh my gosh, I'm thinking, man, based on what they were selling houses for within the last year and a half or so, I'm thinking my house is probably worth about $4.5 million right now at the inflation that they're at right now. So, but it's crazy.
Did you try and buy a new car? Like, there's no cars available. Like, and if they are, they're super expensive.
Oh, and used cars are worth more than new cars.
Yes, yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing how they do that, and you're just like, man, how does that even come across? But I don't know if we need another recession. You know what I mean? We think we need new presidents. That's what we need.
Well, that's a whole other show. Trust me.
Well, that's a shit show in itself. Our candidate who's running now? We have what? We have Trump running in, or is he still being?
I don't know. It depends if he's going to be out on good behavior or what.
Because he's being indicted, right?
Yeah, he's already been indicted. He's been technically arrested. I don't know and of course, they're going to make sure it's hush hush, so you're not going to hear anything about it.
So I got another question for you guys. What is going on with Brett Favre and all those stars down in Mississippi with the welfare fraud? Like, why would you want to rob the worst state in the world? Did you see that today? Ted DiBiase Jr. got 19 counts. 19 counts. That dude's going to sit in jail for the rest of his life, and so is Favre. Like, how would you ruin your legacy by robbing the poor when you're already rich? How much money do you need? Like, what are your thoughts on that? What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, they just got caught up into something that was probably promised to them and probably promised that, hey, this is not a big deal, this is legit or whatever, and they went with it. And once they got, waist deep in it, they couldn't get back out.
Yep. So you think they're all going to see jail time, like significant jail time, or you think the money's going to go?
That's a good question. I don't know how that's going to work. It depends on what kind of lawyers they have, to be honest with you.
What are the charges exactly?
I think a bunch of I think felony of stealing funds from the welfare from the poor and giving to the rich or something like that. It's a lot. Like, he had 19 accounts for that, and that's not even. Brett Favre's got a lot more than that, and they got like video recordings of him, and there's a lot more actors involved. But it's just not them too. There's probably like a bunch we haven't even seen yet, like that you're just gonna be like, no way.
I know.
But they won't put Barry Bonds in the Baseball Hall of Fame because he might have did steroids. Like, that's an instant. You're not in Lambeau anymore, buddy. Like, take him out of the Hall of Fame. Like, he has been proven that he is not the character that deserves to be in. He is a Hall of Famer, right?
He is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, you know what? If Ray Lewis can
in there.
stay in, OJ's in there. Ray Lewis is in there. I mean, come on.
I guess when in Rome, but when I see it, I'm just like, man, like how do they just get away with that? Like,
they should just have a separate wing in the Hall of Fame, just
an asterisk wing for murder and fraud, and then
here's the official Bronco.
Yeah.
And
I mean, at the end of the day, like, is Pete Rose not deserving of being in the Hall of Fame because of gambling when they do all that stuff? Like,
just all his memorabilia is there,
right?
It is, yeah. It is weird where they draw the line on that type of stuff. Like, oh no, you bet on the game, you can't go in. But no, we don't care if you get.
And I think there's more betting than we know of. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, did you see the NFL players that just got suspended as well now?
No, I did see something on that, but I didn't catch all the players. Wasn't it a bunch of It
was like 4 Lions and 1 Commander. So
well, I know it was 4 Lions. I mean,
I hope they were betting against themselves.
Detroit might have finally had a chance to run to the Super Bowl, but let's go gamble on everything and not have a team for the next 4 years.
Yeah, and it was like all their wide receivers.
It was their whole receiving core. Yeah, it was. Like, well, that sucks, guys. Like, you could have done a better job. Like, can you imagine that? Like, if you're the coach and find out that your whole receiving core is gone, like,
all of a sudden,
never mind the coach. What about Jared Goff?
Oh yeah, like, I don't know who you're going to throw it to, but this guy from London Community College is going to be your next receiver at this point. You know what I mean? Like, good luck, buddy.
Now that you say that, I wonder if I could get out the camp real quick and see if I could get a spot.
You might. They're probably picking up people left and right. I mean,
so what if your 40-yard dash is 3 minutes and 20 seconds?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. At least can you run? Is that where that's the requirement? Can you at least
run a route?
Can you run without having an ankle bracelet on?
Right. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Can you run without an ankle bracelet, and then we'll let you know. Like,
can you travel further than Detroit?
Right? Are you not out of the Motor City at all? Like,
oh man, yeah, I don't know. That was crazy. But I guess 2 of the guys were betting on the team, and then 2 of the guys were betting on site. I guess so. That's why the guys that bet when they were on site, those are the ones that didn't get as strict of a penalty. Whereas the guys that were betting on games or whatever, like NFL games. Those are the ones that got.
That's so bad.
So.
All right, now do you guys follow boxing? You watch boxing at all?
Very little. I seen the fight the other
the
night.
The Garcia fight this past weekend. Wow.
Yeah, that there was a mole.
I thought for
sure.
There's a mole? What?
Did you hear he was saying there's a mole in his camp?
Yeah, but man, that dude was. I thought for sure Garcia had him. Like, hands down to Devontae Davis.
I mean, if those first 2 rounds, it looked like he was all over him, right? And it looked like but then all of a sudden, like, I'm drawing a blank on the other guy, Tank.
Devontae Davis. They call him.
So they, like, you could tell he was timing him then. You could tell because he kept putting his fist up right at his head, and he was just timing. He was getting his distance down. He was timing it. And all of a sudden, he was laying them body shots in, and eventually, that was it, man.
I couldn't believe it. I really thought he was gonna. Ryan Garcia is like a stallion. They're gonna have a lot of good.
I think there'll be a comeback fight on that. I don't know if it'll be right away, but I think you'll see them two go at it again.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Tank's undefeated, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
they were both undefeated.
That's a really weird weight class. What was that weight class like?
They're like featherweight, middleweight.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that because it was one. I
was gonna say like a bantamweight.
Yeah, they're a really weird weight class.
But yeah, that was a good fight though. It was, and it was just really weird the way it ended. Like all of a sudden, the guy just takes a knee, like
Well, I'm imagining that shot to the ribs had to really hurt for that kind of money. Like the money he lost, that was like a $3 million hit to the ribs. I'm sure he was. You know what I mean?
It looked odd.
I got some sand in my vagina, but I'll get up. But he was like, "No, I'm done." I was like, "Man, that must be one hell."
That's what everybody was saying. Like, when you take enough shots to the kidneys, eventually it's like, okay, I'm done. Like,
it was good for the sport of boxing. It was good for the sport of boxing. Boxing needs fights like that.
They need another Mike Tyson, is what they need.
They do. My favorite fighter in the world, bar none. Even though he had a crazy career, like if that with Gus D'Amato, that was his coach.
Yeah, Gus.
If that guy never died, that guy would have never been who he is now.
Yeah,
he would have been a lot better of a champion, but
for sure,
probably pound for pound, we do need another Mike Tyson.
Yes, as soon as Don King got in there and got his hands on him, that's where he went all nuts.
Wilder and them are up there. Those guys can fight, and they are very good, but I don't think like the Gypsy King or any of them could stand a chance to a prime Iron Mike Tyson that's not got gonorrhea while he's fighting, and you know what I mean?
And how many years did he miss? 2, 3? How many years was he in prison?
I think like 4, and he came back and won the title within like a couple months after he was out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think to this day, I think he still has a good chance to make a run, but he's never going to do it. He's got too much money with Ric Flair making pot. He don't give a shit.
I was just going to say that. He's too busy getting high all the time. He don't care. Yeah,
he's ruined. Yeah, did you see his podcast?
I did not.
He sits there and gets high with like everybody like you would think that would never smoke pot, like Kevin Hart. Like he's sitting there with Snoop. Like obviously, if you're with Snoop Dogg, you're probably
but Snoop Dogg. You're getting a contact high, no matter what.
Like athletes.
Just from his clothing when he walks in.
Yeah, sitting with an athlete.
Yeah, right.
The one guy, he looks at him and he's like, "Fuck you." I'm like, "Oh my god, if that guy would say it to me, I would die inside." Could you imagine pissing him off in an interview? Like that guy just looks like he wants to kill somebody. Like
right.
And this guy's like sitting there in his studio, and he's like, "I don't like you," and I'm like, "Oh, I really hope there's a lot of security around." Yeah, like I really hope you got some security there, buddy. And the guy's like, "Why don't you like me?" And I'm like, I wouldn't even talk back. Like I would just be like, "Yeah." Totally agree. You don't have to like me. I totally agree.
That's right. That is so true.
All right, so let's kind of close things out here. Kind of going over your artistry here again a little bit. I know we kind of got off track, but hey, that was fun. It was fun conversation, so I don't care.
Yes, sir.
But look him up on TikTok, Kenny Kurtz 717. That's Kenny Kurtz 717, and on Facebook it's K Kurtz Artistry. So.
Yes,
so how long do your projects typically take you then, Kenny?
I'd probably say I'd start, like if I started on Monday, I'll, like somebody will be like, "Hey, I want this, let's say Jason Voorhees piece." Mm-hmm. I'll put it in the computer, I'll mock it up, and then we'll come to an agreement on price and when it's fine, because it get deposits or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'd say from start to finish, depending on how big they are, like if they're over 20 inches, it probably takes me about a week.
Yeah.
And I'm saying a week of like, from start to finish, gluing it all together, seaming it up because you got to hide the seams, and then you got to paint everything. I'd say about a week on something really big. But I've gotten efficient at it, so I can push pieces out pretty fast, and with like 4 days on your average piece.
So when you make the Troy and Howie action figures, do we get the kung fu grips too, or how does that
Whatever
work?
you want. I can do it however you want.
Can you make the little buttons on the back so our legs kick and stuff?
Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. You send me the pictures, and I will definitely make sure you get something cool.
All right.
So, with the one you did of your nephew there, and you did the bust, what is that material? What is that? Like, what exactly is that?
Oh, it's resin.
It's resin.
Oh. So it's hollow.
Yeah, well, you can make them solid, but you got to keep the cost down. So some things, like when it's smaller, like a hand like this, I'll make that solid. But if it's the whole head and the whole arms, and I'll make that hollow. See, I don't know if I can see the hole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Usually I would fill them in because it's my personal one. I didn't, but usually I would fill the holes in so you wouldn't see. But yeah, resin. It's like a hard ceramic almost.
Oh
But
my
it's durable.
gosh.
It's durable. You could drop it, and you really have to smash it to break it.
I would
Yeah.
keep
It's like
that
a
away from
durable
Max
hard-
Scherzer.
Like a hard plastic is what it really is.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, did you hear me? I would keep that away from Max Scherzer.
Yeah.
The resin.
Yeah, because actually this starts out as a liquid.
Oh.
And then there's the machines that I have over here on the other side. The machines, what they do is it's a vat full of this the liquid resin.
Yeah.
You dump that in, and then the plate comes down. And when I put the file in, it's these are all layers. Each one of these little things are layers.
Oh my god.
So all the way up to here, say there's 1,000 layers to make this piece. It'll sit like this on the plate, like that. And it
Yeah.
just
Oh,
keeps
neat.
coming down, and it'll dip the shoulders first. And then it'll just keep doing every single layer until it gets to the... So it could be like 14 hours
Yeah.
until it's done. You know what I mean?
Oh
Until
my
it's finally
gosh.
done. And it'll just keep dipping and dipping and putting every single layer. And if you look, they're smooth layers. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it'll be real
That's
smooth.
impressive.
It just keeps dipping it until the actual piece is all there. You know what I mean? So like something like this would probably take
That's amazing.
8 hours, and it'll be fully printed just like this. But it'll be like but you can pick different colors of resin. You can I typically use gray, but you can use glow in the dark resin.
Huh.
You can make this stuff glow in the dark. You can use they have colored, like you can mix the colors, but they have like every color you can think of. They make transparent resin, which is like you can see through it, like red, like a clear red. So when you do like a dragon's breath, it's like a clear red fire. You know what I mean? Like you can see through it, and then you can put lights in because a lot of stuff I light up. So I do that. With
Yeah.
lights. You can make
Oh,
stuff
nice.
like this. I mean, this one's been on my desk for a while, but there's the Hulk.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that.
I
People
like
that
the one.
play,
How,
like,
how we were talking about you last week when we were, when he was telling me about you coming on this week and everything, and he was showing me the one you did of Gangrel. I thought that one was really cool.
Yeah, I did that for the wrestler.
Did you really?
Yeah, he requested it, and then I did a
neat.
video. If you go on my TikTok, there's a video of him thanking me for the piece. I did.
Oh,
it
okay. I didn't see that. I'll have to check
He
that
actually got
out.
2
Yeah.
pieces, and then I did. I just got done not too long ago, and I have the audio. I didn't get to post them yet because I got to get frames, but I did Action Smash and Demolition.
Oh, nice.
The tag team champs. I did these giant Hasbros, like this big, and then I had the helmets and everything, and then they signed them and sold them at their show. And
How did they get in touch with you? Was it, or did you get in touch with them, or how'd that all work?
I have a buddy that does toy shows, and he meets all of them. So like now I'm doing one for the Nasty Boys.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
And I'm doing one for Jake the Snake Roberts.
Nice.
Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh.
Like,
That
the
is so
pieces,
cool.
like if you go to Gangrel's pages and look at his photos, he had my Gangrel piece that you saw. He had it as his
Instagram.
on his Instagram and his Facebook of my work, like saying, "Hey, thanks,"
Okay.
Yeah, so they reach out to me. So I've done a few work for the professional wrestlers I've done so far, but like
I've heard, like, you wouldn't think looking at Gangrel like somebody like him, right? What's this one?
It doesn't strike a bell.
No, not to me. Does it to you, Howie?
Indiana Jones. This is the
Indiana
idol that
Jones,
he picks up off of the rock.
Oh, wow.
I just don't have it painted gold. This is what it looks like. It's called the fertility idol. And
Yeah.
that's the penis. It's sitting on a little person.
This is.
I don't want to get your podcast for nudity.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Next thing you know, we're gonna cancel Howie and Troy. Here we go.
Right? But that's an actual replica of the. You can make it the actual size, but I make those and turn them into keychains, and people put them in keychains. Yeah, but that's what it looks like when it comes out unpainted.
So, did these Like, did you make these and then meet these guys at a convention to bring them to them, like the wrestlers and such, or did they come to your place and pick them up, or how did that all work?
Usually we come up with a price, and it's sometimes like the one buddy took it to them.
Yeah.
Because he was doing the show, like, so I shipped it to him, and he took it with, and then Gangrel did the whole promo cut of, thanks Kenny Kurtz, bloodbath on you type thing, like, great work. And then I sent him, because that one, he didn't want to take with him because he travels a lot. So then I sent one directly to his house.
Gotcha.
Like a revised version. That I don't know if you saw the one that had the 5 skulls around it.
I don't remember which one I saw.
Yeah, because one of them had
a
cross that lit up, and then one of them, but the 5 skulls. But yeah, and he got it and was like, thank me personally. So it's a pretty good deal.
When he first came onto the scene in wrestling, like, I actually was a big fan of his. I liked his character. He was really into it. He was involved in it. Heck, I heard he even got permanent
fangs.
canines. Yeah, fangs.
There's a permanent, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, he was totally into his character, and I thought his entrance was one of the best ever in wrestling.
His finisher was great. I like the Impaler DDT.
The Impaler DDT, yeah. I mean, it was just everything about his character I really liked. And I don't
he still wrestles to this day.
He does. And I know he was involved in a wrestling school for a while, too, and I don't know if he still has that or not.
I think he does do something like that still.
Yeah. But I've heard, too, that he's a hell of a nice guy. So... any interaction I had with him was pretty cool. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, and just by knowing his character, you're like,
you would think nothing.
Guy, you know what I mean? but he's totally not like that at all.
That's awesome.
So definitely.
Yeah. So, what just happened? Why did we lose a little audio there?
There we go. I was going to say he froze for a second.
Okay.
And then I do stuff like this for just one more piece. I do stuff like this for like Warhammer and stuff.
Oh, wow. And what are we looking at here?
Just a Warhammer.
It's like a shark head?
Yeah, it's like a shark head with like robotic feet and arms and guns.
Yeah.
It's like a orc rider.
That is so cool. Man, I wish I had that kind of talent.
Game people buy them off me.
Oh, okay.
Warhammer. It's mainly a Warhammer piece. So
I was going to say I'm not familiar with Warhammer. What is that exactly?
It's like a strategy-based board game, but like you buy your pieces, you make them and all.
Oh.
And, so like something like this, no lie, is like if I go buy that at Games Workshop, their version, it's like $200. My version, $50.
Get out of here!
There you go.
Yeah, so people buy it. We are more to spend the knockoff version and it looks just like the other one. So
and you can create your own characters in this game.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Get the heck out of here!
That's like a great white shark with like an orc rider with a machine gun, and then he has a gun. And then he has it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But actually, I was repairing this one because I fucking dropped something on it and snapped it. Right here at the leg. I was repairing the leg here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like my babies, so when I break them, I try to fix them. But there's been a few that I dropped something on and it's just...
Yeah.
There's no saving it. It's like, well, you know what the good thing is? My fiance always tells me, Kenny, you can always remake it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You probably have it in your program.
That's just her way of getting me not to keep all of my artwork. And she's always like, if I kept everything I made, I would have nowhere to put anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I bet.
Yeah, I keep I think I have 10 pieces that I've done, but I've made over maybe 190 to 200 actual statues that I've sold and commissioned out.
That's so cool.
All right, so if people want to get in touch and if they want to have you make something for them, Kenny, the best way is just to message you through Facebook or TikTok or something?
Yeah, just message K Kurtz Artistry on Facebook. You can always write me a message on TikTok. I'll hear it, but K Kurtz Artistry, or you can go to Kenneth Kurtz or Kenny Kurtz on Facebook regular and just message me up and let me know what you want, and we can go from there.
So, all right. I was going to say we need to come up with a plan, Troy.
Maybe we could do the Rock'em Sock'em robots, you and I.
I'm telling you can make something happen.
All right.
Find you on your walls. I'll make a double set so you have one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, people ask me all the time, can you make me? I'm like, yeah, just give me a picture. Yeah. And I've done a couple action figures for people and when they get it, they're like, no way. I'm like, you said you wanted an action figure of yourself.
Yep.
He's like, I had him look like he looked like a He-Man, the old school He-Man.
Oh,
so yeah, had an actual head on it, and then I made him look like Rambo. So I gave him a bow and everything, and he was just absolutely. To this day, when we go on toy sites, he's always got it somewhere where you can see it, and
Do you remember the video
that's
game
so cool.
Contra?
Yeah.
Okay, so I always thought like, okay, well that's Rambo and that's Commando. That's who those two guys are, right? So
Mhm.
so I saw a picture where they had Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger as the two characters of Contra. And then I think it'd be pretty cool if you could do something like that in 3D. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah,
You have the two
anything.
Contra
People send me
characters.
ideas all the time.
I mean,
They send me
that's-
ideas, but it's like to make some of them for like, you know what I mean? Like it takes
Do
money
you
to
get in
make.
trouble with any likenesses though if it is somebody like famous or?
Mm-mm. No, I mean I could, but you're talking about a drop in a bucket.
Right.
Because technically, I'm not stealing their likeness. Because when I paint it, it makes it an original piece of artwork.
Oh, there
outta
you
here.
go.
So is it an exact copy of their face? No, it's
Right.
not really an exact copy of their face.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm not using them per se. It's the art on top of it. You're not paying to get this revolver. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? For this, these are funny because this is a revolver for a toy from a vintage toy that is impossible to find, but
Yeah.
I can print them and give you a placeholder for $20, right?
Yeah.
But because if I paint it red, it's not the same one.
Ah,
Is it
there
a
you
good
go.
placeholder for the guys that don't want to spend the money to the $85 to buy this pistol?
Yeah. Or,
Yeah,
or
So
just
any
or
lawyers
eBay.
out there, if you're listening, screw you. There's
Yeah,
no likeness there.
Yes, they're not paying for the actual likeness; they're paying for the paint job that's on there.
Yeah, they're paying for the artwork. It's almost like when I went down to Tennessee and I visited the Jack Daniels whiskey plant.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, the town that Jack Daniels is made at, it's a dry town. You're not allowed to sell alcohol, of all places, right? Well, how they get away with it is they sell you the souvenir bottle with free liquid inside.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's how they,
Because I had a guy one time reach out to me. He was like, "Hey Ken, that's my design." I bought this off of a site for like $25. I was like, "Yeah, you're right. It is your design." But they didn't pay for that particular file. They paid for my paint job on it, which makes it a piece of original art. He was like,
oh.
"Nothing, just birds chirping," and I was like, "Yeah, okay, well, thanks. It was a great design."
Would you like me to make anything for you?
Yeah, right. No, he's like, "You're selling my work on these sites," and I'm like, "Well, yeah." I was like, "That's what I bought it for." Well, you don't have rights to it. I was like, "Sue me." Go.
Yeah,
you know,
right. Yeah.
Because you're painting them in different colors. You're not painting them exactly.
Right.
It's never gonna look exactly like nothing I paint because I mix colors most of the time looks the same as the other one. I can do
Yeah.
5 Godzillas and not one of them are gonna look the same.
Right.
Okay.
But then they can't be like, well, that's Godzilla. Well, yeah, it does. It sure does look like it. Sure does. I've never seen a Godzilla with that kind of gray, so
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
Rodzilla.
yeah, they
That's
can't say
right.
nothing. Yeah, they can't say nothing.
That's
But
awesome.
you can. I guess you can get in trouble for it. You can, but it's
But-
like.
You would probably almost have to be like a big corporation and then be doing something like that, right?
I think once I start getting to where I'm at now as an artist, where Gambody, which is like a major STL company, like when I start doing like business with them, recently with them, they use a lot of my images of my work to say, hey, this is what you can do, and then if you type in Godzilla, you'll see my work on there, like on under Godzilla's for sale, like the STL or whatever, like pictures of my work. But like when you start getting to that point, you got to start going, well,
Right.
am I going to go paint for Sideshow? Am I going to keep doing what I'm doing? Am I going to go exclusively try and paint for, Gambody? And then I got to start worrying about like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But right now, like literally a drop in a bucket of 1 million 3D printing creators out there.
Right. Yep.
What makes mine original is that it's my style. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
like you put my style against somebody else's style, they're going to be totally different. But our art's in the eye of the beholder.
Yep.
Yeah,
100%.
So either you have people that like your stuff or they don't. So
I
All
hear
right.
that.
So appreciate the time, Kenny, professional artist and 3D printer. You can find him on TikTok, Kenny Kurtz 717. Again, Kurtz is Kurtz, and then on Facebook it's K Kurtz Artistry. So
Yes,
look him
sir.
up and send him a message if you have any ideas. He'll tell you what he needs in order to get you started, and then you guys can work out price points and all that kind of stuff. So, I guess with that being said, appreciate your time, Kenny. It was fun to banter
Yeah.
with you a little bit and talk about
It
a
was.
bunch of things, really.
Yeah, I honestly had a great time. I mean, really had a
Good.
great time. I'm glad since we haven't talked in 40 years that we actually had
I know. About time I get to know
At
you.
one point, you're my cousin. Now you're my brother. I mean, I'm glad. I'm actually glad. Honestly, I'm proud of the man you've become. I'm proud of.
Well, thank you.
You know that you didn't let the family's curse change your direction in life.
And I'm going to
that we're
say
all doing well.
ditto.
Yeah, that we're all doing well, and that it was really thoroughly humbling that you invited me to do your show and everything. So
Well, good. I'm glad. And hey, you know what, man? You're a talent, and you deserve all the recognition that comes your way. So
Yeah, don't sell yourself short, Kenny. You're doing a great
Yeah.
job for yourself as well, too. And
well, I appreciate you.
and
I really do.
Howie might be making a trip out to Mansfield, Ohio, to visit the reformatory out there. So maybe he could swing by Beaver Creek.
Yeah.
out there, so.
Yeah, let me know. We can go out and I can show you some stuff to do around town here.
definitely. Where are
that
you at
pretty-
in Ohio?
Yeah,
Beaver
he's-
Creek by Dayton, outside
Oh,
of Dayton.
okay. So you're kind of like 40 minutes or so from Cincy.
Yes, yep.
Okay.
Not far at all. Not far at all.
Yeah. Actually, my wife's aunt and uncle, they lived in Dayton for a little bit, and so. But yeah, so I know that area somewhat
Good.
well.
Good.
Cool,
When
yeah, I'll
when
definitely
When you're
take
in this area, hit me up. We'll go out, have dinner. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
Sounds great.
Well,
All
it's
right.
been a pleasure meeting you too, Troy. I think I've made a new friend in the future. Hit me up on Facebook.
Always.
Friend
We
me.
say that. Okay, we'll do. Yeah, and like I said, like with all our guests too, like it literally is like, we have this conversation and it usually is about an hour, kind of, a couple we're on here right now.
Uh-huh.
It feels like we've made friends after that. So,
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
you're part of our family at this point. So,
That's
Oh,
right.
I'm totally stoked to have done this show. I'm
in
glad
more
you
ways than
had
one, I
me.
guess.
Yeah, right?
Literally. This time I'm not visiting you on the other side of a glass window.
Exactly.
Like, hey, pick up
Exactly.
the phone. It's visiting hours.
And when you come to Beaver Creek, I won't have an ankle bracelet that says I can't.
You can actually leave Beaver Creek.
I can actually leave. You can go somewhere.
Unlike
else.
Jameson Williams.
Yeah,
That's
right.
right.
All right. Well, it's been
yeah.
a pleasure with you guys. It's
Hey,
truly
take care.
an honor.
Good.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Keep in touch, Howie.